Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Great. A little warm, right? So, check this out. Imagine this, a broke 24-year-old sleeping in his car for 5 months. And in less than 60 days, after learning the law of attraction, was earning $100,000 a month. If I told you that story, would you believe me? So, check this out. This was my bank statement back in April 2020. So Chase, if you guys are familiar in America, we have Chase Bank. If you have less than $1,500 in your account at any point, you need a Chase secured account. That was me for 5 years in business. Started with $200, and in less than 30 days, using the law of attraction, $100,000 came in. And I'm gonna be showing you guys some of the things that were coming in. So my name is DeAndre Saxon, aka Mr. Law of Attraction. I studied with the famous Bob Proctor. Are you guys familiar with Bob Proctor? Anybody here? Or The Secret? Okay, so we're gonna be getting into some cool subjects here. So I was working with him from 2020 to 2022 until he passed away, and during that period, I trained thousands of entrepreneurs and going to the next level. So check this out, Bob Proctor. Oh my gosh, he completely changed my life. He's an OG when it comes to the law of attraction and human potential. Studying the mind for over 60 years. And so what he did is he took 60 years of knowledge, understanding the conscious mind, subconscious mind, human performance, and put it into a 6-month program that I was able to take, and it changed my life. So here is my life before the law of attraction. So check this out. This is actually me sleeping in my car in Miami. So at this point, it's Miami 2018. I was sleeping in my car for 5 months, and at this point, I had only 7 to 8 failed businesses. Since now, I have probably like 15. But check this out. I had tried all of the marketing. I used to pirate courses. Who's ever done that before? Especially for online marketing. I used to pirate courses, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, all of these guys. I had all the courses, all the knowledge, all the funnels. I was working 12 hours a day. You know what? Up until the time I was 24, I never had more than $2,000 in my bank account. Nothing was working for me. Stuck at $2,000 a month. And I actually started to wonder if I was made for business, because I was raised by my grandparents. My grandparents never made more than 100,000 a year, so they were saying, "Go back to college, go back to college." Whose family said that to them when they were kind of getting started? Go back to college. That was me for a long time. And I remember sleeping in my car, looking up like, God, what is going on? Why am nothing working for me? As matter how much information I'm taking, no matter how hard I work, nothing was working for me. And then I discovered something that changed my life. I stumbled across Bob Proctor. So at the time I was driving for Uber, and I was like, who is this guy Bob Proctor? I remember him from the movie The Secret. Who's ever seen this one, right? Read the book El Secreto en Español, or the movie, right? So you guys might see him in this one. So since then he's gone ahead and passed away, but his legacy lives on through me. And so check this out. I attended this event in Los Angeles with less than $200 in my account. So let me ask you a question. If you're in Los Angeles with less than $200 in your account, where are you sleeping? In a nice Waldorf Astoria, or are you sleeping in your car? I slept in my car at this 3-day event, and let me tell you this, the things that I learned completely changed my life. It was this simple image. I don't care how successful you are. I don't know that much about money. Some of you can teach me about investing, but one thing I do know is I know the mind. If you guys apply this, you guys will quantum leap to the next level. So what we're going to be doing is this simple image. We're going to start off light, then we're going to get into some heavy topics. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, and body. So it was my epiphany that 100% of my results in my life were not coming from the external world. They were coming from something called my subconscious mind. And if I wanted to change the outside world, I had to first change myself. But how do you do that? Every guru talks about that. Everybody's reading their books talking about this. But how are the real principles? So here was my plan. I was going to work with this guy, Bob Proctor. I was going to study under him. I was going to learn everything I could. I was going to sell his programs, market it, teach it, do everything I could. And funny story was this. I started on my grandfather's credit card. They asked me for a $30,000 tuition fee. So instead of praying for permission, I prayed for forgiveness. I put it on my grandfather's credit card, and I started working with Bob Proctor. And check this out. We got sound? All right, start that over.
Hey, it's your boy here, DeAndre. It is, I think it's now March 1st, 2020. Sipping on my grandparents' couch. Yeah, you know, I'm ready to make it, man. I'm ready, man. I just don't give up. Just started with working with Bob Proctor. I don't even want to talk about what my bank account looks like right now. I mean, I can't go any more down. I can only go up, right? Yeah, I'm at $0 in income. I haven't made a sale yet. But I will make $1 million this year. I will. I'm well, it's done.
So, what ended up happening? Where? Let's do this. Okay, we got that. All right, you're gonna have to do it manually. So, after starting with Bob Proctor, took my business from $2,000 a month to $100,000 a month in less than 60 days, scaling it to $250,000. And yes, I'm gonna get to that. Somebody asked me, was that? This was back when we first started. So I turned my annual income into my monthly income. So now, where did Mr. Law of Attraction come from? It was actually an accident. So I was making YouTube videos. I was like, you know what? Let me just put this content on YouTube. Name Law of Attraction, put it up. And this was what, 2 months ago? So I have 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. And first month, we just started 2 months ago, already doing $100,000 a month with this as well on YouTube. So you can find me at Mr. Law of Attraction on YouTube and Instagram at Miami Patron. So that's enough about me. Let's get into some value here. So the reason I told you this is that this stuff is real. I don't care where you're at. You can be at the bottom, at the top. I have clients at 8 figures going all the way to the next level or starting off sleeping in their car. So let's get into these concepts. First one here. All right, Ali, this is you. Where you at? Okay, conscious mind, subconscious mind, body. This is a simple image, but it will change your life. There's two parts of the mind, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. So let's talk about the conscious mind. The conscious mind is your thinking mind. It's your intellectual mind. It's the mind we went to school with. We were taught, go to school, regurgitate this information, put it on a test, and our conscious mind allows us to accept and reject ideas, but it only controls 5% of our results. Only 5%. Then we have our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. It's the mind that controls 95% of our results. It's the mind that controls what we're going to do today. All right, this slide, you're going to have to do this for me, bro. And then we have the body. You see this. The subconscious mind here is the spiritual aspects of us. Go ahead and change slide here, Ali. So here's the big problem. We went to school understanding the conscious mind, regurgitating information, gathering in all this information. I used to take on all these courses, learning about funnels and ads and everything. But then I would gather this knowledge, but then nothing was working. Because what Bob Proctor showed me was that the subconscious mind is actually the part that's detailing what I'm going to do tomorrow. You see, we have anywhere from 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. 60 to 70,000 thoughts. 90% of those thoughts are the same as yesterday. So what is that telling us? That tomorrow is going to look a lot more like today if we don't change something. That something is called our paradigm. And so if we don't change our thoughts, what's going to happen? We're going to have the same results. Go ahead and change that. Okay, so I call this the devil's language. This world that we're living in right here, I'm going to get woo-woo on you. Is this okay? So what I like to say is, like, I'm the difference between, all right, this audio's cutting out. I'm the difference between the what do you call it? The guys that are like the meditating. And then on the right, you have the guys that are super businessy. I'm the guy in the middle. So check this out. This spiritual world here, this physical world, it only controls, my bad. This physical world here, what it does is bent by the matrix. It's bent by the consciousness of man. So here's what most people do. They use their outside senses based on what they see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And based on what they see, they internalize it. What separates us all from other living creatures? A bird can only be a bird. A fish can only be a fish. But we can be whatever we want based on our consciousness. So here's what most people do, what I call the devil's language, is they look at their outside world, and based on what they see, they take in the inside world, and it starts to dictate their thinking. It dictates their thinking. They internalize what's going on. So what does this look like? I'm sleeping in the car, and everything around me is broke. Everything from where I came from. But what I had to see was that this outside world wasn't going to define tomorrow. That I actually had to change how I see myself. I had to change my frequency. I couldn't let the outside world dictate. It doesn't matter if I'm trying to scale my company to the next level or I'm starting off at the very beginning. So what would happen is I look at the outside world and it forms an image in my conscious mind. And I'm going to take this image and then I'm going to plant it into the subconscious mind. But what is this image? This image that I'm planting in the subconscious mind is from the outside world. Not from the inside. When it said we were co-creators with God, we're able to actually change that through consciousness. There's only one living source. Look around us right now. Everything from the table, the clothes you're wearing, was created in the consciousness of another person. So the only living source is consciousness. So what happens then is we take this image, we plant it into the subconscious mind, and this body is a physical instrument. First think, then we do. But if we're seeing the outside world and we're internalizing it, what are the actions going to look like? More of the outside world. So when the outside world starts to control you, the reason it's controlling you is because you're internalizing that outside image. Ali? Forward, backwards. I usually give these talks every day on Zoom. It's so much different doing it in person. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't done this in a couple of years, but man, getting into it, it's like I'm super excited to be here with you guys. You know, getting me out of my comfort zone. It's like, damn, I do this 3 times a week, but doing it in front of people is a whole other ball game. But I'm absolutely loving. I'm not gonna lie. Let's do it. Okay, you guys, you're going backwards. You gotta go the other way. You gotta go all the way. Yep, yep. Okay. So what I've learned is people don't have business problems. They have paradigm problems that reflect in their business. What is the paradigm? The paradigm sits in your subconscious mind. The paradigm is the genetic programming that's inside of you. It's how you see yourself. It's your self-talk. It's your self-worth. The paradigm is the frequency in which we emit ourselves. All of you are connecting with each other. You either like somebody based on the first conversation. What you're picking up is their vibration, picking up how they see themselves. People don't respond to us. They respond to how we see ourselves. So what I say is people don't have business problems. People have paradigm problems that we're reflecting in their business. Go ahead, next slide, Ollie. Okay, so I'm going to get on this. Let's talk about the law of attraction, law of vibration, okay? So a lot of people talk about the law of attraction. I'm going to manifest some clients. I'm going to visualize and all these things are going to come. But that's actually a secondary law. The primary law is something called the law of vibration. The law of vibration states that everything is moving, nothing rests. If you take a powerful microscope and you look down at every molecule of everything that's made out of here, it's vibrating at a very fast speed, over 700 miles per hour. It's so moving so fast that it looks still. This glass was once sand. All this material was a different form. So if something has a vibration, it therefore has a frequency. So for example, if you guys open up your phone right now and you guys see the Wi-Fi signals, you're going to see multiple Wi-Fi signals that weren't there until I made it conscious. So what happens now if we put in a Wi-Fi password to a more powerful Wi-Fi, we tap into that, what will we begin to attract? A brand new vibration. So check this out. We think in patterns. We think on frequencies. So what was to say that we could somehow quantum jump to a higher version of ourselves? What would this mean? For some of you, this sounds very weird. So the fact that you can see yourself at a higher version, that next business level, that deal that's about to close that you're having right now, the sales call, whatever it is that you're trying to go through, the fact that you can see it means that it's real because creation is finished. All we're doing is moving it around through consciousness. So the fact that we can see it means that we can tap into that. So what if we were to say, for example, close our eyes, meditate, and jump to a future version of ourselves where we could actually ask him or her how we got here? Sounds very weird. Sounds very weird. So here's what we're going to want to do. We're going to want to set a goal so big, so powerful, that it causes us to do things that we've never done before. Most of you guys are doing that already. Ali, next slide. Okay, so this one we're going to have a lot of red arrows, so you're just going to slide with me. Okay, so let's talk about how the law of attraction actually works here. Keeping it very simple. So there's a power that flows into our consciousness. This power allows us to think. Have you ever thought about that? Where do your thoughts come from? There's a power that gives us consciousness, because when we pass away, our body's still here, but we go somewhere else. That's the power I'm talking about. That power allows you to bend reality to what all of you here have bent reality to your will. All of you are what Bob would call an unconscious competent. You're using all of these laws. All I did is I'm just studying it. I don't call myself an expert. I'm 28 years old. I've been through some stuff and I'm learning some things, but I have a long ways to go. But all I know is I teach this, I study this, and I give it to clients, and all my clients are just jumping. And I don't really take credibility. I just teach them. So this power flows into your consciousness, and you form an image with that thought. But what is the language of the subconscious mind? It's not just affirmations. It's not just seeing it and writing it down. Who's ever wrote down a goal before? wrote down a goal and it's okay. Who's wrote it down is actually manifested. You wrote down, you scripted it, that house, that car, that relationship, and it's become manifest. You can do that predictably when you understand how it works in the brain. So we take this image and we're going to get very clear on what that looks like. So I remember sleeping in a car and guys, 100,000 to me at the time, that was crazy. Guys, my grandpa worked at a hospital and maintenance. My grandma was a caretaker from Mexico. I'm from San Diego. So now I make more in a month than my grandparents make in a year. Like, I didn't come from this. I'm learning a lot from you guys right here, to be honest. Like, this is a different level, and I love it. But I just study the mind, and I just learn, and I can, like for you, I just take what you guys are learning, and I just try to go to the next level. And catch me in 5 years, catch me in 10 years, I'll be teaching this still. All right, so let's keep going. So now we're going to take this image and we're going to pass it to the subconscious mind. That's the emotional part of us. But how do we actually do that? The subconscious mind only understands two languages, images and emotion. Images and emotion. So what if to say we were to take an image of what your next car is? Who already knows what their next car is? Raise your hand. Who knows their next car? Okay, so let's do an exercise right now. I'm going to teach you guys. Take you 10 seconds. Go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to practice. I'm going to show you how this works. Close your eyes. Imagine your next car. Take that next car. Okay? I want you to stand in front of it. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to walk to the driver's side. Open the door. Go ahead and take a seat. Who's sitting next to you? Okay. How about the car? At the snap of my finger, we're going to change the color of the car. What color is your car right now? Go ahead and put an image in your mind. What color is your car? Perfect. Now, at the snap of my finger, we're going to change the color of this car. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Purple, green, red, blue, yellow, white. Join me back. Instantaneously, you were changing the color of that car. Now, for some of you, that sounds very elementary, but what we're talking about here is actually the part that's controlling everything. True consciousness. We're going to take this image now and we have to plant it into the subconscious mind. How are we going to do it? You have to actually feel it. The body's an electromagnetic switching station, meaning the brain, we're going to select exactly what we want, how we just selected that dream car. We're going to choose it with our conscious mind. But now we have to get into the subconscious mind. We have to magnetize it back to us. I remember for a long time, how many of you guys have wrote this down, wrote something, and it didn't manifest? Wrote down a goal, wrote down a car, and it didn't come to fruition. It's because we selected it with our mind, but we didn't magnetize it back to us with our heart. We have to feel it. Feeling is the secret that's woven into the DNA of everything. So we're going to take that image, we're going to plant it to the subconscious mind, and then comes the body. Feeling is a secret because it's where the vibration comes from. When you feel good, you're in a good vibration. When you feel bad, you're in a bad vibration. So if we're feeling bad, are we going to do actions that are moving us in a good direction or in a bad direction? So here's what we will do, is that whatever thoughts, feelings, and actions that we emit from this body, it comes out as a vibration. And then what happens is the law of attraction will react back to us. And it'll change our circumstances, situations, and how we feel about ourselves, literally by changing what we repetitiously put into our mind. Ollie, next slide. Go back. Okay, so let's talk about how the masses create and how top people create. So here's what the masses do. They take the starting point as their present results. They use their eyes, and based on what they see, they're going to formulate their goal. Okay, so I have X amount of contacts, I have X amount of money, and based on this, I'm going to go ahead and make this play. And so the thought, the present results, cause the thoughts cause the feelings feelings cause the actions. We all heard this before. So what does this look like? They're looking at the outside world. But all of you have done this before. To be even sitting here, all of you have done this at some point, doing it now, is this. You create from the spiritual plane. We live on 3 simultaneous planes of existence. The spiritual plane, intellectual plane, and the physical plane. So what you have done, all of you, is you've gone to your imagination, you've seen exactly what you wanted, you formulated a plan around it, and then you went and you took action. But most importantly, you acted as if it was done already. We'll talk about the law of assumption in a second. So that's when we start to create. We start to build. Most of you are building projects right now that are literally, you're like, how the hell am I going to get the money for this? How the hell am I going to get the resources for this? This is literally what we're talking about when it comes to creating. Go ahead, next slide. Next one. So here's how we're going to take this to the next level. So people, let's talk about your sales guys. So some of you have sales guys. Raise your hand if you have salespeople. Salespeople, people selling for you, or manage a sales team, anything like this. Okay. So you give your sales guys a lot of information. You give them the Grant Cardone, you give them this, you give them that, and they go up for a month and then they come back down, or they gather this information. You're spending all this money and nothing happens. What's happening? Is because as much information that they're taking on, they're still not planting it into the part that's controlling their actions, which is that subconscious mind. So here's what starts to happen. You're formulating this image of this good salesperson. By the way, this is for anything, your next deal, whatever. You're formulating this image of, oh my gosh, what my life will look like. But then we always default back to our old self-image, that old 95% of us. So just because we get out a piece of paper and we write down what our winner's image is, if we don't change that subconscious mind of ours, that's not going to change anything. We're going to have to get in there, take out that old programming, put in a new one, and that's what's going to literally take everybody to the next level. Okay, next slide. All right, so here's 5 simple steps, okay? Let's go ahead and summarize this. So number 1 is what we call a C-type goal of fantasy. There's 3 types of goal, an A-type, a B-type, and a C-type. An A-type goal is going after something that you've already done before. So you're going after a certain amount of money, a certain deal. You've already done this in a present tense, another business model, whatever. A B-type goal is going after something that you think you can do. This is where most people are. They look at their contacts, they look at how much money they've raised, they're looking at all of this, and based on what we've seen, based on what we did on last week's projections, this is what the goal is going to be. But what's happening is we're still operating in that same subconscious mind, that same 90%. What we have to do is we have to formulate a C-type goal. We literally have to go create a fantasy. What do you want? Like, not based on what you see, what do you truly want? You sit down, you get out a piece of paper just like a child, and you write down, what would I want? What would I want the situation to look like? Or you can use it for yourself. How do you want your body to look like? How do you want your dream relationship to look like? You get so clear. For most of us, the brain is operating in so many different directions that if we can just focus it for a minute, I'm not talking about hemisync today, but I talk about how you can synchronize both sides of the brain. So you have this fantasy goal. And then go into number 2 here is you get a script out. You get a script. You got to understand that that subconscious mind can only understand that image that you're planting in there with repetition. And then number 3, meditation. Who actually meditates here? Anybody meditate? Okay, meditate. What about visualization? Those are 2 different things. Okay, I'll just briefly talk about it. Meditation is a practice of quieting the mind. I call it almost like a feminine energy. You're receiving the energy. You're quieting the mind. You're getting downloads. You're receiving information. Visualization is more masculine. You're telling it the car. You're telling it the vision. You're telling it the next level. You're seeing it. You're planting the image. But most importantly, here's what you have to do. Whatever it is that you do, if there's anything you can get for the last couple of minutes I've talked here, I know it's super hot. I'm hot here as well. All you are like, when he's gonna finish? It's so hot here. So check this out. Whatever you can do, I just want you to do this one simple thing. Whatever it is, repetitiously. If you can do this every single day for the next 90 days, call me and you're gonna say, holy shit, how do I do this more often? I want you to do this. And whoever does, I really want you to come back to me with this. So then number 4 here, ACT, the law of assumption. Who's ever heard of Neville Goddard before? Law of assumption, power of awareness, Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard, he said that you can literally bend the matrix, or what he called bend this 3D reality, by assuming that you're a different person. So for example, I haven't spoken to a live crowd in like 3 years. I used to do this back in my own events in Miami, but I've been doing everything online since like COVID. But I had to come in here and actually assume I'm a different person. Assume I'm the guy that does this a lot. I have this, and I'm doing my best, right? So we go in here and I assume that I am the guy that does this for a living. That I am the next, I don't even say the next Tony Robbins, I'm Mr. Law of Attraction. I have to assume I'm that person. So I'm in the backstage and be like, how would I act? How would I feel? How would I walk? How would I do this? And I'm literally going into self-image myself. Going back between old DeAndre and new self, because it's not firm yet. But if I can act as if it, you guys can all do this as well. And then the 5th one here is inspired action. So this one's a little bit weird. So that's going to go back to that quantum jumping idea. That when you close your eyes, your inside world becomes more real than your outside world. Because there's only 2 worlds, an inside world and an outside world. And we all have the knowledge that this inside world is way more powerful than the outside world. So what if we were to close our eyes and meet, I guess you can say, our future version of ourselves? I know it sounds weird for many of you. You're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? You can meet the future version of yourself, and he or she will give you these ideas. Try it tonight. When you come back, guess what? You're coming back with information that you didn't have before you started. So that thought, the idea that you have, because we think on frequencies, will now come from a higher version of yourself. You'll implement that, and then you'll come here and say, "Holy shit, that guy talking at the law of attraction, it was so hot. I don't know what he was talking about." You're gonna try it. You're gonna come back to me, and you're gonna like, it actually worked. And that's how it works with all my clients. Nobody that's ever worked with me ever just saw the law of attraction. Like, who hires a law of attraction coach? I don't even hire a law of attraction coach. I just teach people on YouTube. I just teach them these concepts, and they're like, "Holy shit, it actually worked." And then they message me. That's how it works. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Now, if anybody has a Q&A, we can go ahead and get into that. Does anybody have any questions on this stuff here? Yeah.
Besides The Secret, what other books have you read that overlaps with the subject?
Yeah, psycho-cybernetics. But honestly, I don't really read books anymore. Now, this is going to sound weird, but Bob Proctor, when I first met him, and I was struggling, he said this, "DeAndre, study this program." So that's the program I used to sell when I was with him back in the day. It's called Thinking into Results. He said, "Study this program. If you study this, in 6 months, you're going to need a telescope to look back at your life." That's all I did, like an ant, like a warrior. Like I just cut off everything. I studied this program. And everything I just taught you is from this, by the way. So I would just study this program, Thinking into Results. So what are some books that you can have that could help you? Psycho-cybernetics, Think and Grow Rich. Those are some good topics. But whatever you do it repetitiously. Yeah. Any other questions? That's it? Yeah. The craziest thing that I've manifested that I couldn't believe. Oh, that's gonna be. I would say my girlfriend. Yeah, that was like 10 days, guys. It's so funny. I put it on my Instagram. There was like, okay, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I was living my bachelor life, living in Miami, living in Medellin, Colombia. And I moved to Dubai. I was single, and I was just living life. And then I got on the dating scene. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this out here. I'm not doing this. And so I was like, you know what? I want a girlfriend, but I want a specific girlfriend from a specific city with a specific accent. When I wrote everything down that I wanted, and I know like I can manifest. I'm here like teaching this, but like I love doing this online. But then I was like, okay, let me get a piece of paper, and I got on Instagram with guys. I'm gonna manifest my dream girlfriend, and this is exactly what it's gonna look like. I had no idea who it was. Literally 12 days later, like she like pulled up. Now I got my girlfriend here, Vanessa from Medellin, Colombia. Yes, so I would say it would be that because the money stuff is fun, but like honestly, I just enjoy driving this. Really enjoy teaching this, and I feel like like when you're into work and you're deep work and you like feel like you're out of your body and time goes away. That's me when I'm teaching this. Now, doing it in a personal format with like people here is a lot different. But man, I can go for hours. I'm not doing it tonight. So you're like, oh no, I can't do this. But teaching this stuff, I love it. I love when your guys' eyes just light up. If you ask me in private, some of you are nervous to ask me, but I'll teach you guys this stuff. You'll implement it, and you're gonna be like, I don't know this guy, Mr. Law of Attraction with the tattoos and Grand Theft Auto and all this weird stuff, but what he's talking about, I tried it and that shit works. And that's all I want you guys to do. So, what's that?
Did you visualize Dubai or no?
I visualized Dubai. Yeah, of course. Oh man, when I got here within 2 days, I knew I was gonna stay. But what I'm visualizing the next level is like I just want to serve people at the highest level. Like actually get out of my body. Like how can I understand at least some of this universal laws? Like we law of gravity, and to get this to people so they can change their life. That's all I want to do with it. And I'm at a certain level. Some of you guys are above me. Like you're already cut off. You're like I don't know what he's talking about anymore. That's fine. All this tells me is I gotta get better. I take this, I get better. Like, how can I really serve you guys at the highest level? I'm 28 now. What would I look like at 38? How can I be at such a high level of consciousness that I can serve people at the highest level? So yes, I would say that. Any other questions? Are we done for the night? Yes. Oh. Oh, okay. That's it? Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Has there been a time you wanted to manifest something but God put you on another path? And if so, what?
Oh, yes, that's called the bridge of incense. So here's what's going to happen when you're going to go to the next level. You guys have all experienced this before. Okay. Here. Ask this again.
Has there been a time you wanted to
I
manifest
some water?
something but
Kind of
God
water,
put you on
water.
another path? And if so, what did you do?
Yes. Okay. So that's called the bridge of incidents. So all of you are probably experiencing this right now, or you're going to experience it this week. You're going to the next level and everything's going to shit. Nothing's working. The deal didn't go through, the money didn't come. Everything's going against you. Here's what's happened. That means you're on track. You've actually taken that vision